all money comes into our lives through another human. So money is a human game. And humans speak in energy. Our bodies are always reading each other, whether it's in person or through the internet. And we know this because only 10% of any communication is based on what somebody said. The other 90% is based on the tone of their voice and nonverbal cues.
Yeah. Wow.
So like we could say nothing and get 90% of the job done.
I am so excited to have you on my podcast. This is so freaking full circle because I read your book on money, became a fangirl, got to meet you in person. We've become friends now. Now we're going to be neighbors. And so I want to start by asking the first question that I ask all my guests here on the Spiritual Hustler podcast, which is, what are you currently spiritually hustling for, Kate?
It's like a really deep sense of home.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. Welcome home. I know that feeling.
Yeah. And like, obviously location has a lot to do with that, but also that sense of like, everywhere I am,
There you are.
this is it.
Yes.
That deep internal.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Everyone likes to tear up in this chair. Mickey was just here, so maybe there's some frequencies left over. One of the things I love about you so much is how you actually help so many women in your community find home within themselves, actually, especially when it comes to worthiness, money, our financial capacity. And we're going to dig into all of those things. And I really I'm fascinated actually by your process, because I know it includes like neuroscience and nervous system, and there's so much more than just like money in the bank. But I want to just get your take on why in the first place so many women feel unworthy of making a lot of money.
Well, in the United States, it wasn't until the year 1975 that a woman could even take out a loan or have a line of credit or a credit card in her own name without a male cosigner. So it is unbelievably recent history that we have even had the right to have property and not be property. And so it's new for women.
Yes.
Like money is new for us in the capacity, at least in this country right now, that we have the structure to support, and that we have so much work to do. But I always like to, I can constantly hold the duality of like, it's taking too long. Women, we need more financial empowerment. And also, we're actually pretty far along, given that just happened in 1975. So it's both, right? It's both. And so I think that we just have a long history of financial disempowerment from thousands and thousands of years. So
patriarchal, internalized.
And, the denigration of the feminine. And so here we are.
Let's rise. Let's go. Here we are in 2025.
What's interesting that I have loved learning more about over the last couple of years is that in the before times, thousands of years ago, actually it was the priestesses who held the financial power in many cases, in many cultures. And so I think I like to refer to it more as like we're in the process of a remembering of what once was, as opposed to like needing to build something new. Because my whole thing is, can it be easier? Can it be more relaxed? And when I approach it from the perspective of like, oh, we're just remembering something that once was, then we already have the kind of like energetic infrastructure and pathways for that. And then we can just lean back into it, as opposed to be like, I have to build this whole new foundation and like blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And I don't like to think about it that way.
I'm so happy you said that. It's not that way. It's so beautiful, the work that you're doing, which is I love that word remembering. And it really calls me back to when I went to Egypt and I got all the activations from the Pleiadians and those temples, which my community knows about. And I got the message that they said to me, the feminine frequency is returning. They didn't say it's arriving. They didn't say it's being birthed. They said it's returning. This is deep deeply our birthright. Like it's woven into our ancestral DNA and it's been suppressed. And so how that manifests into today's world, especially with women that you coach, that I coach, like let's talk about the under earning mentality. Like I find sometimes I can be very triggering, to be honest. I'm like, charge 5 figures for this, like double your rates, triple your rates. I'm coming in, to my community, and I'm sure you see it in yours, like so many women are undercharging for what they do. And so knowing that this is deeply woven, here we are though in 25 with big dreams, knowing cognitively that we're worth it, but we aren't able to necessarily embody it. So how do we do that? How do we get there?
There's a couple of layers here that I think are important. So number one, there's the layer of, oh, I just don't think I can charge more because imposter complex. Oh, I need another 35 degrees. Oh, I'm not certified enough. I don't have enough experience.
I don't have enough following.
And that's sort of the internalized devaluing of self as women that we've done. However, I think that something sneakier is happening for many women. And it's not as straightforward as like, oh, I'm just not valuing myself enough, which is 100% true. We can talk about that. The sneakier version is I feel like I don't get to charge more because I'm in this backwards cockamamie way, caregiving others and their financial situation by not charging enough. So it's this projection of like, I don't know if they can afford it, so I'm going to not charge more because I'm caring for them by charging less. And so that is a deep undercurrent of people-pleasing behavior. But what actually it is doing is relating to people, potential clients, right, as needing help, as needing our care, as one up and one down. And what that actually does is it puts us in a false hierarchy where it's like, oh, I need to help this person. They are not as capable of the dignity of paying full price, paying what this is worth. And therefore, I'm going to take it on as this sort of like robe of elitism in a way that actually is like really kind of sick. So I notice this a lot in my community where it's like showing up as under earning, but actually it's this like false sense of, oh, I should care for these people because they're not able to do this on their own.
Wow.
And especially healers and spiritual coaches, the whole like spiritual wellness vibe, people who are like, I'm here to be of service.
Right.
Great. One of the best ways we can be of service is charging well so that we can give our clients and customers the dignity of stepping up to the level of their power that kind of investment requires.
That is so good. I actually have never heard it that way because there is so much like clenching and stigma around like being a spiritual person and like charging a lot of money for it. And so much of it has sort of been like projected that I'm too noble to charge a lot of money for what I want.
So that it's like this way that we get to kind of get off on being better than. It's very egocentric.
It's deep. Psychological.
It's very self-absorbed.
Yes, it actually is. Thank you for naming it. So this is like one of the things I know. I mean, I see it in my community too. I see it on Instagram. I see it like in the space, like the struggle and the criticism, honestly, which is, I think, what creates the struggle because people feel like they're going to be judged stepping out as a woman of service, right? And at the same time, being a woman in full power and abundance. Yes. And so you've worked with thousands of women, helping them like rewire their brains and their somatic bodies, which I want to talk about. Let's talk about the neuroplasticity and how we work with the mind, and then let's get into the nervous system.
Our brain and nervous system are this beautiful system working together at all times to make all these quick decisions and quick adjustments so that we don't have to consciously think through like our next breath and, keeping ourselves balanced on a chair and, even like I'm not really thinking about the words coming out of my mouth particularly, like I'm just talking.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. But anyway,
It's kind of meta.
Also true.
You're really good at it though, Kate.
I'm not like, let me now think through the whole sentence I'm about to say. Like, it's just like, here we are, we're talking. So our survival brain is the oldest part of our brain. And it is interconnected. It's in like the lower brain stem, and it's super interconnected with our vagus nerve, which then, moves through the nervous system of the whole body. And there's really not one part of our body that our nervous system doesn't impact, except for maybe like our hair and nails. I'm not sure.
Thank God.
We can do the research on that at another time.
Fair.
I know that like you don't have feeling in your hair and nails. And so our survival brain, especially when we're in a state in our lives and certainly in the world where we have high levels of stress. So we're taking in a lot of stressful information. We are caring for a lot of people or beings. We are, out there earning money, doing things. And there's the environmental stress. And then there's the chemical stress. And then there's the like, maybe we're not sleeping well. Maybe we have some health issues. So like, and then we add in limiting beliefs and like ancestral trauma, like all of these things basically add to our stress and threat bucket. When our stress and threat bucket is full and possibly even overflowing, it makes it so that we are responding to life from our survival brain because we are animals.
Yes.
And our bodies are animals, and our whole being is like, oh shit, my survival is being threatened right now from all the stress that's not actually going to kill us, but our evolutionary process has not kept up with that fact. So it feels like it is a threat to our real survival on a daily basis. Like even just like getting an email from Bob in accounting that sets you off to make you feel like you're being attacked by a bear, which you're not, right? It's just like, or something that like somebody says that pisses you off. It's like, you go suddenly into these responses, fight, flight, freeze, flop. And so what's important to know about that is when we are in that state, we are responding to the world from our deep, unconscious, programmed patterning. And that patterning, in most cases, is on some level inherited and then also conditioned in many cases when it was like even pre-verbal, and certainly childhood experiences. So we're out here, trying to be powerful. Like we are powerful. We're not trying, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Out here doing our big things, big dreams, whatever. But our brain and nervous system, for the most part, until we work with our neuroplasticity, which we'll get to, are doing their best to ensure that we do not do anything, think anything, or experience anything that is new. Because according to our evolution, anything new that is outside the realm of what we have experienced before is an immediate threat. Now think about our money goals. What we desire around money is 99% of the time something we have never experienced.
Yes.
Something our immediate family has never experienced. Something that our friends and our community have not experienced, and certainly something our ancestors have not experienced. So our old wiring is in exact opposition to achieving our dreams around money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, think positively and do abundance affirmations.
It's not.
Like,
totally.
That ain't going to cut it when your stress and threat bucket is so overwhelmed that it can't even, when we have not metabolized all the daily stress, all the past stress, all the things I described, when we're not metabolizing that on a daily basis, it is impossible for our brain to be available for thinking new thoughts, believing new things, creating new identities, and learning new skills.
Yes.
Like literally, you can't learn something new because rewiring requires energy, calories, literally calories.
Yes.
And our survival wiring is like, no. We're about to die. Like there's threat everywhere. We're not going to use those calories to rewire neural pathways. We need those calories to fight or run
Right.
or just basic survival. So we have to switch out of our survival wiring.
This hits so hard because even though, I mean, I'm on the other side of this, but listening to that was me for so long. I mean, I was probably, when I was making the most money at that current time in my career, when I was running my agency, I'd never felt more scarce. Because I had gone broke before. I went broke at 33. It's a big part of my story. And then a few years later, I started Simply Be, and I started making millions of dollars in that business very early on. And I was never safe in abundance. I was never embodied to hold it because I was always running from scarcity. I didn't want to die. And that, you know, I was in my power, like you said. I was making the money, but I didn't feel like safe in my system to hold it. And so whether you're listening to this and you're a woman that is striving to make more money, under earning like we were just talking about, or maybe you're someone who's super earning, but you're fucking running yourself down to the ground and burning out, this work applies to, I think, everyone.
And what you're describing are two sides of the same coin of financial dysregulation. And what financial dysregulation means is your body doesn't feel safe with money.
Yes. Let's talk about the body.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the body? Because I feel like that was a big unlock for me. Like after I came up from Egypt and like running this business that I'm now running, that feels super easy.
Cool.
Like it does.
So
like it's a lot. It has its waves, of course, but I'm in abundance. I'm in a lot of cash flow. I am very supported, and I have space. And yet there's still this little part of me that like gets anxiety if I'm not being super productive. And I'm moving through this, but I think this idea of like holding it, feeling safe, to really like trust that this is actually real. Like this works. And this is what you teach in all your programs. We're going to talk about. This is the essence of what I'm really trying to, the core, like communicate to my audience. And I really didn't have any idea about the nervous system until about 3 years ago.
Yeah, the nervous system really is having a moment.
It is having a moment.
Other people knew.
Yeah.
But I too, like it was 2019 for me was like the year that I was like, oh,
right.
This is what's going on.
Right.
With the way that our memory lives in our bodies, because we've been so deluded and so conditioned to think our mind is everything, specifically our brain, like specifically like in your head.
Yeah.
But actually what we now know is that the mind, our consciousness lives within our whole body. We have neural cells in our heart.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's amazing.
We have an entire nervous system in our gut. Our quote unquote mind, but our consciousness is everywhere.
Yeah.
And so anytime we're doing work for evolution, for healing, and it doesn't include the body, we're actually leaving out like 80% of our potential. Because what we know is that 80% of the communication goes from body to brain.
Mm-hmm.
Only 20% of the communication of information is brain to body.
Wow.
So the level of untapped resources we have for wisdom, intuition, really like speeding up our process of knowing what's right away without having to go through the mishigas of like, let me analyze in 35 million things. It's a freaking waste of time for many people, depending, human design and everyone has their ways. I'm a sacral authority, so I'm like, it's like very body-based. I'm just like, I just know the end.
It's a gift. Totally. But I think everybody has like an opportunity to get more connected to their gut
100%
instincts and intuition.
100%. And so my kind of like cheat code is up at the edge. So like for you, when you were making all those millions with Simply Be and feeling fear and lack, right? It's like, doesn't make sense. However, according to your body, you were actually like way outside the realm of safety, and earning at that level was a threat.
Yes. Wow. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so our job as people with bodies, because that is the great equalizer. Like every human being was given a body and it is the only thing going all the way with us from birth to death.
Yes.
Like it is the only relationship we're going to have our whole lives, is that the relationship with our body. And I guess the relationship with our consciousness as well, which I believe lives in the body.
Yes, it does.
To a large extent. And so the cheat code is, when you're up at the edge of experiencing something new that you desire, but you're in all the resistance, you're in anxiety, you're in fear, you're sabotaging yourself, resistance shows up in any million, getting distracted, starting 25 different things, not finishing projects, being avoidant, being hypervigilant. I mean, there's just a lot of ways it shows up. It's to know that right in that moment, it's not because you suck. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you have, maybe you do have a diagnosis, but like, let's just start with, your body's just scared.
Yes.
Your brain and nervous system are just scared. And so when we can learn to signal to our bodies that we are safe, that unlocks everything.
Okay. Well, finish your thought. And there was
That's pretty much. I mean, there's more, but
I have questions.
Yeah, great.
Mic drop. So I'm thinking right now of a client that I work with. She is magical. She is so coded, and she's building a beautiful business. She's actually in the middle of a launch right now, and she's hustling. She doesn't have much support, which that's a whole other conversation, but there's this frequency to her that is running so fast, right? And like chasing a little bit, and doesn't really fully know how to slow down to receive. And so she's missing the signals,
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So let's talk about one, some clear signals.
Yeah.
And two, ideally we're hearing them. What do we do when we hear them? What then?
So tell me like an example of a signal, just to make sure that I'm on the same page.
Mm-hmm. So she's getting sick a lot.
Yep.
She is having massive anxiety.
Yep.
She is not sleeping very well.
Yep.
I think that she is changing her strategy every day.
Okay. That is such a common one, where it's like, okay, now I'm doing a challenge. Now I'm doing like viral Instagram reels. Now I'm doing podcast clips on YouTube Shorts. Now I'm doing evergreen webinars.
I think I should do an upsell. Should I do a downsell? Do I have 12 people in it? Or should I have 20 people in it? Maybe
exactly.
Yes.
That, what you're describing, is dysregulation.
Yep.
And the way it shows up in business. And so what in that moment, like, now this takes practice. It takes time to rewire it. It's why I have containers that are like not forever, but a little on the longer side.
Yeah. Well, this is deep work.
Our patterning, has been developed over decades and through generations.
Yes.
And so it takes a minute to practice it. But the cool thing is, what I love about every time you have a stimulus come in. So it's like, I'm looking at my dashboard and there aren't as many sales as I wanted to, right? So like, that's a stimulus, is like sales.
Yes.
Right. Money.
Lack of it.
Right.
Right.
And then there's a response, and the response, the output, is habitual and largely unconscious. And that response is like, okay, now I need to do more. And that's, for most women entrepreneurs, that's going to be the response. It's like,
right,
there's lack, I need to do more. And what ends up happening is, when we spread ourselves energetically over a million different things, running from here to here to here to here to here, we actually lose our magnetism, and we actually lose our resonance. Because what we know, I actually just had this experience with a realtor while we were looking at homes. There was 2 different realtors. One of them was, I could tell she just really wanted to make the sale.
Yeah.
And she was lovely, but a little frenetic. And I found it ever so slightly repulsive.
Yes.
And I was just like, even if I loved this house, I would be a no. Because her and her lack is not a match for my frequency, which is literally like our bodies have an energetic frequency, and our nervous systems are largely mitigating what that frequency is. So when somebody says like, oh, you just need to change your frequency, that's a lovely thing to say, but nobody knows how to do that.
Correct.
And then sometimes you find yourself in a new frequency and you're like, that was cool. I have no idea how I got here. And so, I mean, we know we can go to dance class. Like there's things, and we'll talk about tools.
Yes.
But this other woman, this other realtor was like elevated enough that it felt aspirational and like we're in a professional environment, but also like really chill and normal and relating on a very human level. And I just was like, whatever you're selling, I'm buying.
Yes.
Because there's a level of relaxation in this interaction that makes me feel so safe, and it is magnetizing me in. And so magnetism is created by how safe we feel and how whole we feel. And it is, and I mean that feel.
Right.
Not how safe and whole we think we are, how safe and whole we actually feel. These people can feel it. In sales and in business, it is all relational. All money comes into our lives through another human. Yeah. So money is a human game, and humans speak in energy. Our bodies are always reading each other, whether it's in person or through the internet. And we know this because only 10% of any communication is based on what somebody said. The other 90% is based on the tone of their voice and nonverbal cues.
Yeah. Wow.
So like we could say nothing and get 90% of the job done.
This is so huge. And frankly, like the essence of my show, for the record.
I love it.
To spiritually hustle, to come from a place of trust and receiving. Magnetism is created by this knowing that we are safe, and healing this deep ancestral programming of fear that takes a lot of, yes, rewiring and reprogramming that is somewhat a journey, which I want to speak to your program because it's beautiful. And you take women on this journey to really reimagine their identities when it comes to money. But I just want to say that it's not a switch. It's like what you just said about like change your frequency, change your life. Like that sounds really great. And so many people don't know what the fuck that is. And you really truly break it down in your programs and in your work and in your beautiful books and all the things you do. So for the purposes of this podcast convo, can you kind of give me a couple tools?
Great. Yes, I'd love it. So, okay. So for your client, for anybody who's listening, who's like feeling anxious about money, whether it makes logical sense or it doesn't make logical sense, doesn't matter. The body doesn't do math. So like, doesn't matter how much money there is or isn't. If your body is programmed to come back to the thermostat setting of financial stress and financial anxiety, because that was the environment in which your nervous system developed, and that was the energy of like, oh, this is what it means to be alive. We all grew up in a particular energy around money.
Yeah.
And so that energy is not math. That energy is not numbers. That energy is, how did your primary caregivers feel about money? And that was the energetic transmission that your nervous system received as like, okay, this is my home setting. And so we will always recreate that setting, not because it feels good, but because it feels like home. And so we can update it. And how we update it is we signal safety to our body as often as possible, certainly through daily practice, but also and around moments that would previously be activating. So maybe like sitting down and having a money date with your spouse is activating. And maybe historically it's ended up in fights. This is a very common thing within my clients is they come in and they're like, I have been fighting about money with my spouse for 20 years. And now we are in a place where we're doing a weekly or a monthly money date. and we are actually having the best time, and it's become one of our favorite parts of our relationship.
Wow.
So how do we do that? We start by signaling safety. There's a million different tools, but like I'll just give one for that example. And there's different tools you would apply for different scenarios. But in that scenario, right, like you could actually start with your partner with a 20-second hug. Because what we know is that a 20-second hug releases oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone. It is the like yummy hormone. It's what's released when you're nursing your baby. It's what's released when you have an orgasm. It is the bonding love hormone. So like maybe just start your money meeting with a 20-second hug. 20 seconds is going to feel really
Long.
freaking long. We just all need to know that. So set a timer and just stay. And you'll notice there will be a moment where your body is like, oh, this is too much. We have thermostats for how good we can allow it to feel. But if we just stay just a little past it, there's a field of bliss that's available that is so exciting and is totally free because our bodies are absolutely incredible and they are designed for feeling good. Like the female body has an organ explicitly for pleasure.
Thank the Lord.
There's nothing else it's for. Like the clitoris has 10,000 nerve endings for pleasure. That's its only purpose.
Sorry, guys. We got that one.
Like what?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that's one, but that requires another person.
Beautiful.
But also like you could do it with your dog. Same.
Really?
So just so you know, like you could snuggle a cat, snuggle with your dog. Like it doesn't have to be human, a bunny, whatever
Wow.
pet you have.
Sure, some do. I know a few people have bunnies.
Our nanny has a bunny.
They make really good pets.
She has a bunny named BB.
Aw.
Another great one, easy. Take off your shoes and socks and go stand on the bare earth.
Yes, I love a grounding exercise.
The frequency of Mother Earth is regulated at all times. She is our original home. She is where we came from. It is automatically regulating and healing. It will signal to your body that you're safe if you could just stand on the bare earth and let the soles of your feet co-regulate with the electromagnetic field of the earth's surface.
It's amazing. I live for grounding.
It's the best.
It's the best. It's so, and I use it, talk about it all the time, just for like general nervous system regulation, but how this connects to when we're really activated around money is so powerful.
It is. And so I want to add like one other little asterisk
Yes.
here, which is this. Most financial dysregulation is caused because we are confused and we have money as our source. We have gotten confused and understood that money is our source. And so we'll do anything, right?
Right.
We'll sacrifice. We'll make choices that are not in alignment with our values. We will create trauma. We will create pain. We will look back and be like, what just happened the last 30 years of my life? I was like just chasing, right? But actually, source is our source.
Yes, it is.
And source is our source of abundance, right? With a capital S. And so when we signal safety to our bodies, we are automatically like right there in that moment, plugging back into source with a capital S, where our true abundance lies, because money is pretend. It is a human-made system that is completely a game that humans who are participating are just like participating in a game. It is made up. It is made up. The fact that it's like this water glass costs a certain amount at the store, like what even is that? So yeah, like, do we have mortgages? Do we need to pay for insurance? Yes, all of those things are happening, but it's really, I think, important to kind of look at the 30,000 foot view and be like, okay, no, this actually is pretend.
Yes.
It's not as real as the earth. It is not as real as the 20-second hug with your spouse or the snuggle with your dog. It is not as real as the taste of a fresh strawberry. Like that, those things are real. Money is pretend.
It's so good, Kate. And thank you for breaking it down the way you just did, because I feel like I can't really name it, but I I locked in. Maybe it was around Egypt. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm like, I am infinitely provided for. Like I've plugged into that knowing. I mean, I guess you could say it's from my somatic healing, my nervous system healing, my trauma, having friends like you, working on really trusting my gifts, but like making the main chasing, like being of service and like helping women and being of impact. That's like my North Star, and helping to like recall the codes of the goddess and the matriarchy and bringing back feminine empowerment, all that. But like the money piece is sort of faded as to like what's driving me, actually pretty much wholeheartedly, because the connection I have to my spiritual practice and knowing that my birthright is abundance, that I came here to experience not just abundance in like money, but abundance in like bliss and joy and health and friendship and connection, and really tuning my like telescope to focus on like the abundance of my life, and that it's a gift to be in this human body.
Yes.
Like that's really when my money story changed.
So I want to give you like a quick little neuroscience lesson about this.
Let's go.
This is really fun, and it exemplifies this cool thing. Okay, so a lot of the reason we get like looped in sales and like watching our Stripe account and, you know, cash months and blah, blah, blah. Like, listen, I love making good money. So I'm not saying that's not good. Please don't misunderstand me there. But we get in the loop of like Instagram likes or number of views on our reels or whatever.
Right.
That's dopamine. So dopamine in the brain is the wanting chemical.
Uh-huh.
It is responsible for wanting. The thing is, when we get the thing that the dopamine is having us like chase, it never gives us the sense of having. So dopamine circuitry is wanting. It is a hungry ghost. It is never satisfied. Want creates more want, creates more want. So when you pull the lever on the slot machine and you win, there's not a sense of satiety of like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I got it. Nope. It's like, let me keep pulling that frickin' lever. It is empty. However, what you just described is the having circuitry. So the having circuitry is created through full sensational living, meaning I am here in a body. I am giving myself permission to experience bliss. I am looking at the beautiful flicker of that candle. I'm like looking at how luminous your skin is. I'm just here. I can feel my foot on the ground. I can feel my butt on this chair. I feel the texture of the fabric, like the light in this room. Sensational living activates the having circuitry in our brain, and it gives our brain and body the message, oh, you're satiated. You're satisfied. And it pops us out of the dopamine chase.
So good. You're masterful. This is a masterclass. I want to talk about your class in a second.
Okay,
actually,
great.
that was going to be my next question. But before I do, I have a follow-up question just while we're on this, because it's like we can. I've never heard that before, by the way.
I came up with it.
It's, well, damn, girl.
I mean, well,
Thought
maybe
leadership,
somebody
right?
else said sensational living, but I don't know. I'm
You
the
should
first
write
one
a
that
book about
I know. I
this.
guess I should. Yeah, full sensational living.
I'm obsessed. Okay. So I want to ask this question only because I know that it's a question that's on the hearts of much of my community. Like, okay, so first let me start by saying I am so fucking here for women standing loud and proud in their wealth and in their worth out loud,
yes.
online, on social, like talking about their big launches and their multi-six-figure months and da-da-da-da. Like, talk to me about what's happening, because that can be empowering and expansive in one moment. And depending on the day, it can be incredibly defeating and have like a real dose of comparisonitis.
Yeah.
You know? Just like,
And I've experienced that both ways.
Same.
Where I will never forget. I will never forget this moment. And I was somehow mailed this packet inviting me to like be an affiliate for something. This is a long time ago.
well, yeah, if you got it in the mail, that's a long time.
Correct. and in it, this woman who was like further along than I was, she had young kids. This is before I was married with kids, but like I knew that's where I was headed. She wrote down in one of her bullet points that she made $500,000 a year while working like 10 hours a week. And I remember I was sitting at the dining room table of my mother's house and I burst into tears because I was like, oh my God, that's real. Like I could do that too. She was this embodied example of a woman I could really relate to who, she was like being wacky on the internet for a living. It was sort of pre-internet. I don't know exactly, but yeah, definitely on the internet. And like, it was so permissive for me to be like, that's real. And given the fact that she has done that, I can too.
I love it.
And so I have started using this phrase, financial compersion. So I don't know if you know what compersion is, but compersion is when you get off from your partner having pleasure.
Okay.
So kind of fun.
Yeah.
And some people are wired that way.
Yeah, very real.
So I noticed that there is a choice when we get a stimulus. The stimulus is woman sharing something that I want, and it, has to do with money or success or status or whatever. That is a stimulus. And in that moment, our job is to create enough safety in our nervous system over time through compounding. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Please remind me if I forget. So that we have the agency to see that there's a crossroads. And one option is go into lack and scarcity and comparison. The lie of scarcity, which says there's only so much to go around. So if she's having it, that means I can't. Versus financial compersion, which is let me activate my receptor sites right now and receive this as though I am having it. Because what that does is it's rehearsing it in your body. Our body does not know the difference between whether something is happening to us or whether something is happening to somebody else. That's where collective trauma comes from. But that is also where collective joy comes from, because our mirror neurons are designed to be watching out for what else is happening within our community, to be tracking for like what's safe and not. And so if we're watching this woman celebrating her 100K cash month on the internet, let's say, and we are watching that and being like, how does that feel in my body?
Yes.
How would my 100K month feel? Then we can actually begin to wire ourselves to make that possibility infinitely more open, likely, and welcome in our environment. Because when we do that, we are telling our subconscious what we want it to sift and sort for. And so then we're automatically altering our behavior and our consciousness. But again, subconsciously, so like not having to work at it, like what's happening under the surface and just making shit happen, to then begin to look for all the opportunities and to make all of the decisions that would put us in the position of 100K months.
I gotta say, I think I'm really good at financial compersion.
I love that.
I think, no, I really,
so good, right?
Yes, because
it does feel good.
It turns me on.
Yes.
When I see another woman winning,
yes,
it's so interesting because I'm so clear. Like I've done my work, but like it's been a practice, of course. But I celebrate so instinctually when other women crush it, and it has this sensation of like, yes, this is possible. This is a reality. I can be in the collective frequency that because she can do it, I can do it, and we can all tap into that joy.
Yes.
But like, in my view, like the sisterhood ninja, like activation is just be like, that makes me so happy for her too. Right?
100%.
Like,
because like, think about, for example, like Oprah, right? She created a form of media that made what you and I do possible.
yes, she did.
Like without her, there could be no us. Her success literally did create our success.
Yes, it did. She's amazing.
Literally.
Uh-huh.
So there's like the energetic and the spiritual, but then there's actually literally
3D.
one woman's success does automatically open up more channels of flow for all of us. It just does.
Yes. This is why I love linking arms with you, babe. Riding. So let's talk about this. You've got a big 3-day event coming up.
I do.
And if you couldn't already tell, Kate's got codes. So if you want codes on codes, you got to go to this event. And what's it called? How can people jump in? What's going to be included?
Yes.
Let's go there.
It's called Good with Money. It is a 3-day free workshop where I bring it all.
Yes.
I do not have settings where I would be like, oh, this is how I teach in a free experience. This is how I teach in a paid experience. I don't have that toggle switch. I just am the way I am.
Yes.
And so I will walk people through a 3-day experience where at the end, they will have the lived experience of beginning that rewiring process. So they will be different. It's not just like come and listen and be like, oh, that's cool in theory. There's like a 75-page workbook.
Yeah. Amazing.
Not that it's heavy. It's like fun.
Fun.
However, it is actually an experience of healing your relationship with money from soup to nuts.
I saw you do this last year. I feel like it's the money event of the year.
It is the money event of the year. I only do it once a year.
You do.
And that allows me to bring the absolute best of me. I was telling Jessica over dinner last night that the way I deliver, the only other time I've experienced the energy that comes through me like this is when I gave birth.
Yes, you said that. That's so true, though. I get it, though.
So it's like giving birth and good with money. You're
like birthing a new consciousness onto the planet.
Yeah.
Really, you are.
Yeah. And so it's practical, embodied neuroscience and energetic. So it's all of it. There are many places you can learn about money energetics. There are many places you can learn about personal finance. There are many places you can learn about growing your wealth. And there are many places you can do money mindset work. And there are some places you can do somatic nervous system work, although I don't know that many around money. But this is the only place you can do all of that in a very intentional process that is designed to have a transformation relatively quickly.
That's amazing, first of all. Thank you for that breakdown. And it so speaks to the beautiful comprehensive nature of your work and why people need to come to this. I also am a marketer myself and have hosted live events, and like your retention rate from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, like people go on this journey with you. Like they show up, they come back.
And it's like, what blows my mind is the number of friends who are like full big peer energy texting me afterwards being like, I hung on every word. And that is such a deep honor to be able to support the women who are up to very big things, because here's what else is true, Jessica. We are experiencing the early waves of the great wealth transfer.
Yes, we are.
So by 2030, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's in the trillions of dollars, will be moving into the hands of women because of the way demographics are and whatever. So the question is, are you prepared to actually receive and steward those kinds of resources? And so this workshop is that.
I'm coming. You know I'll be there. And I want, the dates are
April 17th, 22nd, and 24th. Come live if you can, but if you can't, there will be replays.
Yes, and put it on your calendar. I mean, I think the replays are amazing, but I think being in your energy, if you couldn't tell today, the live activation, the presence of, even if it's virtual, you still feel you in the ether. And I highly recommend you put it on your schedule. You set aside this sacred time, because it's so much more than just about money. It's, we were saying, it's really about healing, stepping into your power, feeling trust and safety in your life, in every area of your life, being the woman who gets to root for other women as she rises herself. Like, it's the only way to do it. Like, you're bringing, while very practical, very embodied tools around money. It's like, it's new earth consciousness, the work that you're doing. And that's what my audience is really, truly here for, and looking for more guides and teachers to help Sherpa the way. So thank you. I'm going to leave the link to all the things in the show notes.
Great.
We got you. And I want to ask you some of my final quick fire questions. I love the quick fires. Okay. So first question is, do you have, I'm so curious about this one for you, a favorite spiritual book?
I mean, I refer to Gay Hendricks in The Big Leap all the
So
time.
good.
He's a freaking legend.
Totally.
We've become Instagram friends. It's one of my most favorite developments of my life.
That's like, I would nerd out if that was me.
It just makes me so happy.
I get it.
No, but The Big Leap, it was
a game changer.
Deeply touching. Yeah.
Yes. Aside from a book, do you have a favorite spiritual teacher?
This may sound like a really ridiculous answer. So I have this bougainvillea plant on my balcony.
Let's go there.
There's something about this bush that she has changed me. The fuchsia color, the way she just like comes into full blossom and then drops everything. We think she's going to die. And then she just comes back out of nowhere and is like riotous in her beauty. And I just go out every morning and I sit in my little egg chair and I get the morning sunlight in my eyes and I just kind of like allow the energy of the bougainvillea to seep into my cells.
I got to tell you, I think that's my favorite answer of that question I've ever had on over 100 episodes. I've seen that, by the way, on your Instagram, that egg chair in that bush. I feel like you've talked about her.
Yeah.
And I love that it's a teacher, Gaia, Mother Earth. It's just so beautiful.
Well, and also like I'm so desperate to live on the ground. But I've been living in a city and, I don't live on the ground floor. And so this potted plant has saved my life.
I completely get it. Welcome to Nashville. You'll be here soon.
So much ground.
So much ground. So much earth. So much grass. So much green.
Totally.
It's the best. Okay. Do you have like a favorite spiritual, not spiritual, like goddess, deity, angel archetype that you like to work with?
I really love working with Lakshmi.
Me too. Of course. The goddess of abundance.
Yeah.
She's my girl too. I know this answer already, but it's a yes or no. Do you believe in aliens?
Of course.
If you're coming on my show, chances are that was a real fun question.
I mean, I know aliens.
You're talking to one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, final question. What does it mean to you to be a co-creator of the new Earth rising?
Really like feel what the new Earth feeling is as a way of making it true now.
I love that. I say that we are actually co-creating the new Earth in real time with everything, single thought, belief, action, interaction. It's a co-creation. It's here. And I love the power of that answer. Thank you. Thank you, Kate Northrup, my babe, my sister, for coming on my podcast. This was gold. This was gold. Honestly, it was an amazing blessing. I can't wait to send everyone to your event. Who doesn't want to be good with money? And you've just really, I think, mastered this narrative in the space like no one else has. I think every single woman needs to go through your work to show up the way I know she wants to show up. It's so deeply, deeply our birthright to be women in our power and our wealth. And I'm so happy I got you on my show, like for so many reasons, but to really pierce through, which I know you did today with this really critical message at this moment. So thank you.
Thank you. Such a pleasure to be here.
So much fun.